Hi, my name is Zachary Angela, and I wanted to go over um, general processes, nothing too deep, and how to create your own file watcher in Go. Um, it does take some understanding of uh, how processes work, the PID, and kind of how Go somewhat interacts with them. But I just wanted to give like an overview thing. Uh, so, the first thing you want to do is create that Go file like we usually do. Okay, and you want to try to think about it as this is basically going to be the file watcher, and then you got to have an app at which it needs to watch. Um, so from here, we'll create the mod file. Okay. And I do have some of the code somewhat already written. Um, I'll try to go over it as I kind of go along. One of the first things you're going to need is a function in order to find um, what directory that app is running in. And that's kind of important because you're going to be watching the files. You're going to need some kind of indicator that lets you compare the files before to the files after. And the way I'm going to be doing it is by the size of the files. This way it sort of takes a snapshot of what the size of the files are, and then from there you can kind of control the time at which it looks. Um, so yeah, in this function, basically you take the path, and then you just take the information of that path. So right here, you're setting up the size variable, and you're getting the directory, and you're basically storing whatever is in the directory into this variable. And all the files that are within it, you're just going to walk through them. You're ranging through those files. And basically, if the file is dot, which is an indicator that it's only within that folder, then, you know, obviously it's true and keep going. Or if it's dot dot, then obviously it needs to go into another folder in order to find it. And eventually, you get the current path of the executable file that it was comparing and trying to find, and you get the final size of all the files inside the folder, and that's what gets returned. Um, so just being able to look at the size of a folder isn't necessarily going to give you a file watcher or anything like that, but it can at least give you a point to start the watcher on. Another function that I had used was to get the process ID. And this is a lot more complicated. I'm not even 100% about all the different stuff in it, just because it has to do with digging through Windows processes. There's this link that I'll put this in the video, but it goes through doing the different snapshots of memory and everything for looking through the heap or the different processes, and is that function uh, this one is actually in other languages, and it's kind of used as a low-level way of digging through the Windows system for processes. Um, yeah, there's kind of a lot to it. I'm not even 100% about all of it. It's interesting stuff. I'll eventually go through it, but it was just a way to basically just get the process from Windows. And what are processes? Well, if you do, I mean, there's all different kinds of processes, but as far as we're concerned with this, with Windows, they're code that runs kind of all together in order to provide a certain behavior. And they can be applications or just common processes that run, you know, for different applications. Kind of like how with Chrome, when you open it up, is all these processes, and you're able to see them and the performance, and you go here for the details, and you can find out the PID of each process and whether or not it's running and how much memory it's using and all that. Um, it's different on Linux. I think it's just you type in top and it'll shoot out a whole bunch of information on Linux about all this information. But basically all you need to really understand for this is just that a process runs. It runs some code. It has a certain process identification number, and whether or not it's still running. This is all you really need to know here. Um, so this is a way to basically get a snapshot of that data, get all the processes on Windows, and then just loop through till you find one with the same name at which the process ID is getting in order to cycle through and find the right one. There's a lot more going on underneath, but instead of trying to dig incrementally through the Windows system, I just use that function. Um, Another one I use in order to kill the app is this one. And this is very specific to Windows. And maybe even just Windows 7 through 11. But this task kill is the CMD command in order to kill a certain operation by PID. And so that has all these different flags, and it's basically specifying, okay, kill it by the PID. You're running the command, and you're getting back the result here in order to get uh, the output or the output error, and it just prints it out. And yeah, and it's important because what you're trying to do is have one process, which is the application that's running, have another application run that's the file watcher that tests the size of the directory, waits a little bit, tests it again. If there's a difference, then or kill that original application, restart it again. And that's just generally the idea. It's not that hard if you use, you know, certain functions to do it all. Um, Another method I use is start app, and I'll copy the other one that's this one. But basically, this runs the application again. You can change this to whatever the file is that you're going to be running on, and just shoots out the output. You can even have it open up a browser window as well. So then the last thing you'll need is this function, which is from here. And basically, it checks whether it's Windows. If it is Windows, run the CMD. If it's Linux or Mac OS, run the bash command for it. Basically what this is. And then, yeah, spit out the output again. Everything is kind of meant to be a separate process, but still be able to view what the process is doing. And so it's all really needed in order to do all that. So then we actually have the logic of the application, which is here. And this kind of brings it all together. Basically, you just create a watch time, which is just some seconds, 5 seconds. You get the path of the directory at which you're going to be watching and the info of that directory. And then you run an infinite loop and you get the size of the directory, which was from that function right here, and that we had already went over. You sleep for a little bit, which is that 5 seconds that we had put up here, and you just restart it again, and you get the size of it, of the directory, I should say. And we run, if the old size is not the same as the new size of the directory, then get the application by the PID, which was the original function we had run that I kind of went over. It cycles through all the Windows processes by name and then gets you back the PID. So once you get that PID back, which is just like I explained before, are these per process. And basically that other function is just cycling through all these. Once you get that, I had originally set up a variable because if it's having issues with this, trying to find that a process, then I want to set the run to false. And that comes into play right here because you don't want to try to start the app if there's no app there, right? So you need a way for the program to know, did you actually find that process? If you didn't, don't worry about it. But if you did, keep watching those directories. And so that's basically what I did here is why run equals false if E is the error basically is equal to or not equal to nil. And if it is, then do run is true. So then it just kills the process, which we went over here. You know, this obviously isn't going to work on Linux or Mac, but you can basically do like you did here and make it choose the different processes if you wanted to, if you wanted to wrap this up, so to speak. Um, so then it kills the process by PID. That's what this line does. And then if that run, which is that variable, remember if it's false if there's an error, it's true if there isn't, if it found the process. Wait a couple seconds because this kill command may not have totally killed it, and so you kind of have to wait a little bit in order to restart the app, which is what this function does. And that's basically the logic of the application. Right here, which just runs the command to run Go, or the app again. So what we need to do, because this is just a file watcher, there's not even any files to watch, we need to create a folder called app. And inside of here, we need to go app.go. Now the name of this file determines the name of the application inside the processes. Hence why I have it here as app.execute. If you were to do main.go, it would be, it'd look for main.execution, which might actually be then the file watcher application. So you have to name the file differently so that it's a different named process on the system. So this application itself, what I'm going to copy paste in it has nothing to do with the video really. It's just I need a process to run, to watch, to kill, and be able to see if there's any changes that were made, and it reserves the file. So it's just a server. It really doesn't mean anything, so you don't have to like worry about what it does. But you do, if you're going to be doing it this way, you need to pull down the processes and everything. So first thing I do is go mod init and app. And this is within the app folder. See tester app, tester, and then the app folder. So if we run this, it should create a go mod file, which it did. Run go mod tidy. So it pulled down all these dependencies and everything. Mod render in order to make it a quick start thing. And let's see if it could even work. Okay, I'm guessing I still need to pull these down though. So I just presumed these need to be done. Yeah, I think that should be good. Let's see if we can run this thing. That go just on its own. Oh, because we didn't create the template folder, the actual directory we're gonna watch, not just the app. So I just did templates. And it doesn't matter. But home.html, one file for now, whatever. Let's just put test. And right now we're just gonna try and get it to kind of work. And I ran the server, it's serving the file, nothing too special. Go test. There it is. So now that this is running, we want to run the watcher application, which was this one. So let's do another terminal, which is just in the tester folder, not within the app folder. This is the main.go one. And do go build, see if this one, go mod p, go mod render, let's see if it runs it. Run main.go. So before we run this, let's try to find that app process, and here it is, 13568. That's the PID for it. Let's run it. Okay. Should have. Oh, because I didn't actually put the function. I need that. So we run it. And it should be about ready to kind of do its thing. You know what I think? Well, it should be doing its job. So let's try and change that file and see if it actually is. So let's do 1, 2, 3. And hopefully it should be then, see, on the PID 13568. And it just restarted it. And let's see, boom, right there. So, I mean, there might be a better way to have it print out first, just kind of see necessarily what's going on. You do print probably will give it a little bit better perspective on it. But yeah, that's basically how you would create a file watching application Go with only standard library dependencies. No framework thing, no special anything. I'll put this up to GitHub or GitLab or whatever, and leave a link to this on the bottom of the video so you can use it or do whatever you want. But yeah, basically it's just, you set up the path, the timer, the boolean, you get the information of the directory, get the size of the directory, go to sleep for a bit, get the other size while you're editing, whatever on here, and then check the sizes if they're same. If they're not, then get the PID and then kill the process and then wait a little bit and start it again. That's really it. Although there's, like I said, kind of a lot going on in the background. Um, the only issue that I sort of have with it is that I feel like maybe this might change sometime in the future. So that's kind of a problem. But it's one code base that you could not hear technically, but you can make it one code base for all platforms, which really wouldn't be that hard. Like I said, you would just check if it's Windows or not, and then do different commands. It's if it's Linux or if it's Windows, which really isn't that hard. But it's just a way to have two processes run. One watches its files and then kind of turns it on and off. So hopefully, I don't know, you get some out of this. Like I said, I'll post a link to, uh, I'll just post a link to just the code and you can grab this if you want. Yeah, let me know if you need anything or if you have any questions. Okay, thank you very much.